So this will get the old grey matter working on a Wednesday morning. How do you embed social impact within corporate strategy and the product cycle? Well, this morning's keynote speaker is just the man to tell us. Michael Waas is Global Vice President of Brand Partnerships at TerraCycle, where he oversees award-winning corporate partnerships that make it possible to recycle the non-recyclable. TerraCycle's programs have engaged tens of millions of consumers in more than 20 countries, recycled billions of pieces of waste, and donated $10 million to schools and non-profit organizations. Through these programs, TerraCycle has pioneered recycling solutions for some of the world's most challenging types of waste, including cigarette butts, flexible films, coffee capsules, chip bags, there's probably crisp bags in this country, water filters, and cosmetic packaging. We are two nations divided by a common language, as they say. Michael, please welcome and come to the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Is my mic on? Can you hear me? Yep. Lovely. It's an honor to be here. Thanks to Sedex for the invitation, and I hope you all enjoyed the first day of the conference. As you know, TerraCycle is a company focused on a simple idea, which is that we should be able to eliminate the idea of waste. And in thinking about that, the question really becomes, what is waste? Where does waste come from? And one of the things we know is that waste doesn't exist in nature. The natural world evolved in such a way that the output from every system is the input for another. So in one manner of thinking, waste is a relatively new idea. The concept of trash really evolved with the development of complex materials and a consumer economy that drove mass consumption. And in developing that, we created packages and products and materials that no longer, when they're the output, can become the input for a new system easily. One of the biggest challenges, as you all know, is that plastic consumption, plastic packaging has increased. And this is something I know you all deal with on a daily basis, but globally it is an enormous challenge because the scale is evolving and growing much faster than the natural world can account for. And so that leaves us with enormous issues. And in looking at the challenges we are facing, it's easy to see them in beaches and oceans and waterways on the street. And when you think about it, waste is really a living, breathing part of our lives. You might have seen the statistic that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Think about the impact that we're having in a relatively recent phenomena. Waste is a new development and already becoming the single biggest global challenge we're facing from a products and manufacturing perspective. The challenge in solving waste is not one of finding a processing solution. It's an economics issue. What we found is that when the cost of collecting and processing a material is higher than the material value of what is recovered, no one wants to collect it. It's not that it can't technically be recycled, it's that there's no supply chain for that material. When the material value of the recovered material is higher, so when the cost is negative, then we see a supply chain develop. And that's where PET and glass and aluminum, paper, PP, other materials are highly recyclable. It's because there's a demand for those materials. So the question becomes, how do you create that demand? Well, in looking at waste, there are three different components. Waste has the composition, so the material, whether it's plastic or what kind of plastic or wood. The features of the waste, so what shape or form is it in? What color is it? And then the intention. How do you use the material? because we aren't looking at ways to maximize the value of waste, for the entirety of human existence, we have done two things with waste. We burn it or bury it. And these are still the predominant forms of waste disposal for the vast majority of all products manufactured today. We created TerraCycle to eliminate the idea of waste, and we do it in three ways. First, we aim to make everything recyclable, either by providing solutions for things that aren't already recyclable, or by helping to increase recycling rates for things that are. We also work with manufacturers to integrate waste into their supply chain to make it possible to make everything from waste. And then our newest platform is called Loop, and it is a move to durable products and packaging that completely eliminates the concept of waste in the CPG supply chain. And so I want to take you on the journey of TerraCycle as we developed and moved through those concepts. We started as a company looking at the current linear supply chain, where we extract and pull materials out of the earth to turn them into products, and at the end of their natural useful life, they have to go to landfill or incineration. We thought there could be another option, which is to provide a recycling solution for all of those crisp bags and hundreds of other waste streams. How do you do that? Well, we developed a three-step process where first we create an independent supply chain where we're able to create a custom program to collect and recycle any waste stream. We work with brand partners to customize those by product type and packaging type, and then have our R&D team develop a solution, which is the second step, to solve the waste by recycling it. And then the third step of our process, which is crucial, is to drive value in creating that platform. Not just sustainability value, but business value for the brands and manufacturers we work with, because we know that sustainability and sustainable supply chain is not just a sustainability issue. It's central to business challenges. And there are ways to leverage that drive business ROI in addition to sustainability ROI. The very first product we did this with was an organic liquid fertilizer made from dining hall refuse from Princeton University, which our founder and CEO, Tom Zaki, dropped out of to take the dining hall refuse, feed it to worms, take the vermicompost, the worm poop, and brew it into a tea that we packaged in reclaimed, so reused plastic soda bottles that we collected from students across the United States. We sourced off-spec trigger head sprays from Clorox and P&G when the color wasn't quite right, but we were able to use them and the product was fully functional. And so this became our first product made entirely from waste. We then expanded into creating a variety of upcycled products. Now, upcycling, as we define it, values all three of the characteristics of the waste: the material type, the form of the waste, and its use. And so the first two, and the form that the packaging is in. And so we can create speakers from flexible films, or pet products from pet food packaging, or a variety of products made from records. And so we've created over the years thousands of different products that are upcycled. And one of the things we've found is that this resonates with consumers. People enjoy this and find this engaging and exciting. Here's a bag made from old United States Postal Service bags that have been decommissioned. We use Starbucks packaging, 1 pound coffee bag packaging, which is beautiful. And if you think about the packaging design and art design that went into the package, throwing it into a landfill seems like a waste. We worked with product manufacturers to create entire product lines out of upcycled packaging. You can see an example here of products made with Mars packaging, and here a variety of products made from our different brand partners, including there's a company in the US called Bare Naked Granola we thought it would be a little cheeky to make the bare naked shower curtain. We worked with Coors in the US to take all of their outdoor advertising, vinyl billboards from all over the United States, and turn those into cooler bags that they could use as part of a consumer promotion. Instead of sourcing new virgin cooler bags, they were able to integrate their waste into their supply chain for that consumer promotion. And by the way, this was the single most requested item in their consumer catalog over the course of 2017 and 18. But upcycling doesn't provide a solution for the volume of waste we collect. We do it primarily for promotional or visibility reasons. We have an in-house R&D and material science team that has found solutions and pioneered ways to process even the most challenging waste streams. We then take that waste and turn it into a usable material in the form of a pellet that can be customized to spec for any of 100 different products. We then work with our brand partners to create things of lasting value, like garden beds or playgrounds made from waste streams that weren't previously recyclable. And then we work with our brand partner to donate that to a community, which provides a powerful way to engage consumers in the collection and recycling platform and to show them the end result of what is done with their waste. One of the things we found is that consumers often are confused or have a level of skepticism about what actually happens to recycled material. They see the material picked up and it goes away to the recycling facility, but no one knows what happens. It's a black box. By creating things that can be seen publicly, it provides the consumer with a tangible, visual reality so that they are able to see the impact of the waste that they've collected. We worked with Frito-Lay in North America to create the world's first chip bag delivery truck that was made in part from used crisp bags. So all of the header cab and the sidewalls are made from crisp packaging that we collected from schools all over the United States. We've worked with Colgate-Palmolive in the US and abroad, including Australia, and here in England, we've worked with Unilever. Sorry, I had a late flight last night. We worked with many partners, including Unilever, to provide gyms and playgrounds made from materials that couldn't previously be recycled. One of the key parts of our platform is engaging consumers in recycling the waste. We find that sortation is one of the most complex and costly parts of the process when you're trying to recycle hard to recycle waste streams. And so the way our programs work is we provide programs that are available right now on the TerraCycle site in each of the 21 countries where we work that allow consumers to sign up and select any of the waste streams they'd like to recycle. They then are able to access posters and letters and resources that let them take any box at their location and turn it into a recycling box for a specific kind of waste. That allows TerraCycle to collect sorted waste from consumers. We find that there's a tremendously high level of compliance from consumers. When we first launched our yogurt pot recycling scheme in the US, we found that we were expecting to get really nasty, terrible smelling boxes in. And instead what we found was consumers were cleaning out the yogurt pots, though we hadn't asked them to, nesting them so they were in neat stacks, though we hadn't asked them to, and sending them in. And a significant percentage of the boxes also had a thank you note saying, "Thank you for providing a recycling platform. I've been saving these for years." So we have a high level of consumer engagement, and they are able to then get a box and start collecting anything at their office or home, at their church, or any location. They are able to then sign up for one or multiple waste streams and engage their communities using the tools we provide. And so we see the development of an organic consumer engagement platform where a location leader will sign up on behalf of a school or office, download the materials, start to communicate to the community, and then it turns into a robust platform that not only helps educate people about recycling and recycles the waste, but can be valuable for our brand partners. Now, once we've provided a recycling solution for all non-recyclable waste, the next part of our process is making everything from waste. So I want to share a case study with P&G, with whom we created the world's first shampoo bottle made from beach and ocean plastic that is also recyclable. There's an interesting thing here that if you look at the color of this Head & Shoulders bottle, it's different than any other Head & Shoulders bottle before. And part of the reason is that in developing the supply chain, we weren't able to get the purity of material from beaches and oceans and waterways needed for P&G to make their standard white bottle for Head & Shoulders. So we leaned into that, and Head & Shoulders decided to focus on that color and make it a gray that is recyclable but distinct from their standard packaging. We leveraged our hundreds of thousands of collection locations globally to source ocean and beach plastic, send it to us where we were able to work with Suez to sort and refine the material, and our R&D team worked with P&G's product development team to get the material to a quality that P&G was able to use for the packaging. We launched this 2 years ago with a small promotional product run in Carrefour stores in France, and it has since expanded to 11 countries and more than half a dozen different products. And so as we've been able to scale the supply chain for beach and ocean plastic, we've also been able to drive the cost per kilo down for that material. It's an important part because the cost for the beach and ocean plastic is significantly higher than a standard material. Here's the launch in Carrefour stores, and one of the things we've seen is that there has been tremendous media around the beach plastic platform. We launched it at the World Economic Forum in Davos in 2017, and it drove more than 4 billion media impressions over the first 12 months and won a number of awards. But this left us with a question, which is, if we're recycling everything and making everything from waste, are we actually solving the problem? And the reality is that we're not. We're solving the symptom. We're still, even if we're recycling everything and making things from waste, we're still manufacturing products that need to be thrown away or discarded. And so we launched a platform called Loop at the World Economic Forum just this past January. I'm going to play you a short video as a quick introduction.
Get ready to say goodbye to disposable containers. Recycling company
TerraCycle announcing a zero-waste
delivery service
called Loop.
It's called Loop.
It follows what is called the
milkman model.
Imagine the milkman meets everything.
For everything from orange juice to deodorant.
Laundry detergent.
Ice cream or shampoo are delivered
in durable and reusable packages.
Inside a reusable shipping tote.
When you are done with them,
without any cleaning, instead of putting it into a rubbish bin or a recycling bin, you put it into a reuse bin.
Une fois les produits consommés, le client replace les contenants utilisés dans le même sac.
And after you're finished with the products,
those containers are picked up,
cleaned and refilled for another customer.
It allows for unbelievable design innovation.
We have designed the package itself with stainless steel.
That particular ice cream container keeps your ice cream frozen.
Unilever's design team is working on their own redesign.
Major brands including Nestle, Procter & Gamble, and PepsiCo.
Tropicana, Tide, Haagen-Dazs,
Procter & Gamble, Unilever, and 23 other companies.
We've got a test that'll be going initially in New York and Paris.
Launching in May in Paris, and then New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
We're not only rethinking recycling, we're rethinking how we use every single product.
The e-commerce site says its model is
nearly 75% better for the environment.
It moves from being disposable to reusable.
And my dream is that my kids or their kids can wake up in a world where the idea of waste simply doesn't exist. And we look at this time in history as what an anomaly that was, and thank God we're not in it anymore.
Thank you very much.
So Loop is really based on the concept that if we want to solve the packaging and plastic problem, we need to start at the source. And in looking at products and packaging, the package itself right now is a cost of goods sold to the consumer. But what if we were to flip that equation and make it an asset for the company? That changes the nature of the economics in that if the packaging is, or the product is ownership transferred to the consumer, then it's a cost. But if it's retained by the company, it's an asset. And when it's a cost, you want to make the cost as low as possible. If it's an asset, then you're able to invest into the product or packaging in a way that isn't possible with a one-time use product. Now, this is an actual ad from the 1950s, extolling the benefits of disposability. And it's easy to look at that now with 65 years of hindsight and see all the challenges in disposability. But the reality is that disposability has a couple of virtues. One is convenience. And convenience for the consumer trumps nearly everything else. Now, the other is cost. Disposable products brings the cost of products down, which democratizes the product and makes it available for more consumers. And those are two important benefits. But they also come with two trade-offs. One, obviously, is the waste issue, but the other is that there is a consumer experience loss. In working with our partners, when looking at different packaging types, what you see is the evolution of packaging materials. The green line and blue line shows recycling and reuse rates for each packaging type. Highest with the glass bottle, which we like to talk about Loop as harkening back to the milkman model. Moving to an aluminum can, a PET bottle, to cartons, and to pouches. Now, there's an important difference between each of the packaging types in that as you go from right to left, there is less packaging weight, but more complexity because you need the same material requirements. Now, the unintended impact of that is that for a recycling company or a waste management company, there's less value in the material, in part because there's just less material, but also because it's more complex. So you have less material that's harder to use or requires more processing. For the consumer, there is a performance trade-off in that which would you rather drink something out of, a glass bottle or a pouch? Who would prefer a glass bottle? Right. So there's a user experience trade-off as well. Now, Loop is not the first reuse or durable packaging model. These have been around for many years, packaging-free supermarkets and other stores. But the challenge in those is that they focus on the reuse and the sustainability benefits, not convenience. For the consumer, it's less convenient to bring their own packaging to a store and then figure out which package or bottle to use for which product. Loop aims to solve that by providing a platform that is both convenient and affordable and reusable. So what you're looking at is the current cost. These numbers are made up, but for sake of argument, to give you an idea, the package on the right is current deodorant packaging. And because it's a cost of goods sold, we want to make that cost as low as possible. Let's call it 10 cents, 10 pence. That's a cost each time the packaging goes out. If a company were to maintain control and ownership of that asset, the packaging as an asset, then we're able to invest in it. And if you amortize the cost out over 100 or 200 or 300 uses, the cost per use actually becomes less than the one-time use package and creates no waste. Loop provides not only the reusable component, but also provides a premium consumer experience. Imagine everything in your cupboard being premium reusable materials. And the way the platform works is that you are able to order online. You get the durable packaging you see here. And as you saw in the clip, the Haagen-Dazs container, in a lot of ways, this is a packaging designer's dream because you're able to invest in a product in a way that you wouldn't if you were giving it to the consumer. The Haagen-Dazs container you see will keep ice cream frozen solid for hours. That's an enormous improvement for the consumer, aside from the sustainability or reuse improvements in the product. So the consumer orders online, receives the products in a reusable tote, and you can see other packaging examples that we'll be launching in Loop in Paris and New York next month. And when the consumer enjoys the product, they are then, once they have the packaging and it's left over, able to put it back into the tote, request a pickup, We bring a replacement product, take away the old packaging, sterilize, sanitize, and clean it, and then it goes back into the supply chain. That's it. That's how we've eliminated the idea of waste. Thanks for listening.